friends. I have a really special book to share with you today. The title of this book is Violet the Pilot, and the author and illustrator of this book, the person who wrote the words and drew the pictures, is Steve Breen. And I notice on the cover of this book, I see a little girl, that must be Violet, and she's flying this crazy plane that looks like it's made out of a lot of different materials with her dog in the back. That makes me really curious. I'm wondering, how did Violet become a pilot? Let's read and find out. Everyone in town knew that Violet Van Winkle was a little different. For starters, she and her parents lived in an odd, kind of a strange looking house next to the junkyard her father managed. So the junkyard is a place where people bring things that they want to throw away that are maybe too large to put in garbage. And while other girls were playing with dolls and tea sets, Violet played with monkey wrenches and needle-nose pliers. So I'm thinking that Violet was different because she didn't do the same things as other kids. I don't think the other kids were really interested in building things, and it even says the girls they wanted to play with dolls, but Violet really wanted to build things. Violet was a mechanical genius. That means she was really good at making machines. By the time she was 2, she could fix almost any broken appliance in the house. By 4, she could take apart the grandfather clock and completely reassemble it. When you reassemble something, you put it back together. Since she didn't have any friends aside from her dog, Orville, she would spend hours tinkering with things from the yard. Violet's parents were very proud of her, although they weren't too happy about the time she put a lawnmower engine on her cousin's tricycle. So I'm noticing that Violet mostly played with her dog because the other kids weren't interested in the same thing as her. They weren't interested in building machines, so Violet kind of played by herself or played with her dog. The older she got, the more interesting Violet's creations became. Around the time she turned 8, she was building elaborate means really complicated, machines from scratch. So when you make something from scratch, you start with nothing and you build it up from the very beginning. And not just any old machines. So I'm thinking that Violet really enjoyed building things, and she was so determined. She really, really wanted to become good at it. So she practiced and practiced, and as she got older, she became very good at building these elaborate machines. Flying machines! Her parents couldn't believe their eyes when they saw Violet zoom by for the first time. They were a little worried in the beginning, but they quickly saw that she was a pretty good pilot. Careful not to hit the house, Violet's father would yell, and put on a sweater, her mother would add. Violet used anything she could find in the junkyard to make her wonderful contraptions. A contraption is a machine. So I notice that Violet uses whatever she can find to make her machines. So she used a wagon and some wood, and it looks like a chair. She has a lot of interesting things. We noticed that on the cover of this book as well. She makes her flying machines out of anything she can find. There was the tub bubbler and the bike copter, the rocket can, the pogo plane, the slide glider, and the wingamajig, just to name a few. Violet's engineering, her building these machines, was pretty sound. That means she was very good at it. Her machines worked really well. The only real hazards were tall trees, piles of junk in the yard, and bugs in her teeth. Kids at school would see Violet eating lunch alone and make fun of her strange books and greasy overalls. Claude and Clyde Mulrooney were especially obnoxious. Obnoxious means they were really annoying. They made fun of her a lot. I think Violet is trying to ignore the children who are teasing her. She's trying to just act like they're not there and read her book, because I think it would be really bothersome to have children teasing you. That wouldn't feel good. Then one day, Violet noticed a poster in the drugstore window. Air Show, October 20th, it read. That's only 2 weeks away, Violet thought. Can kids fly in this show? Is homemade aircraft allowed? Aircraft are different types of airplanes. That night, Violet sat in her room thinking about the air show. She knew it would be a good feeling if one of her planes won a prize. And maybe then the kids at school would be nice to her. Violet pictured exactly where she would hang her blue ribbon. So Violet wants to show everyone her flying machines. She wants the other kids at school to be nice to her and think that the things that she builds are really cool. And that's why she wants to go and show her aircraft and win a blue ribbon. She and Orville spent the next few days combing, searching the junkyard for just the right materials. When they had collected a giant pile of stuff, the building began. One day, the Mulrooney twins happened to pass by. Look, it's that girl from school, one of them said. What are you doing, weirdo? I'm building an airplane, she told them. The twins exploded in laughter. They went, then mumbled something mean as they walked away. Orville barked at the boys, but Violet just went back to her project. Take it easy, buddy, she said. We're too busy to worry about them. So even though the kids made fun of her, Violet was determined to make her flying machine. She was going to do it no matter what. Finally, after days of hard work, Violet had finished making her flying machine. She named the magnificent, the wonderful new craft, the Hornet. Wait till the people in the grandstand see me flying this, Violet said to Orville. The test flight was a success. On the day of the big air show, Violet took off, bursting with excitement. Her parents' faces had beamed with pride when they wished her luck, and she thought about that as she flew through the clear autumn sky. She calculated, she did the math, she figured out exactly how long it would be, that the trip would take about 20 minutes. She would arrive just in time for the start of the show. Suddenly, something caught Violet's eye. She noticed something. In the river below, a group of people were waving frantically. Violet lowered her altitude to get a better look. A troop of Boy Scouts had run into trouble while canoeing. Violet knew she had to help them fast. It wasn't easy rescuing all the boys, but Violet piloted, she flew the Hornet with careful precision. So she was very careful and she got into all the right places. She was very precise. Saving the Scoutmaster from going over the falls was particularly dangerous. Something that's dangerous is not safe. So even though Violet was so excited to go to the air show, she really wanted that blue ribbon, she did the right thing. She helped the scouts who were stranded in the river. Violet dropped the grateful scouts off at the hospital. So they were grateful. They were very thankful to Violet for saving them. Then she checked her watch. 3:30, she said to Orville sadly. We've missed the air show. She turned her plane toward home and sighed. It was a miserable feeling. If you're miserable, you're really, really sad. That evening, Violet had no appetite for dinner. She wasn't hungry. She just went upstairs and sat on her bed. All of a sudden, she heard lots of noise outside the house. She and Orville went to the window and discovered that a crowd of people had gathered. Somebody spotted her. There's Violet, the boy shouted jubilantly. There's our hero. And a hero is a person who helps people. The Van Winkles stepped outside, squinting from all the flashbulbs that were popping. So lots of people were taking pictures, and it was hurting their eyes. The press, the mayor, the fire, and police chiefs, even kids and teachers from school had all learned of the rescue that day and had come to praise her. So when you praise someone, you tell them how great they are. So they wanted to tell Violet how wonderful she is. Young lady, please accept this Medal of Valor. Valor is being brave or not scared. As a token of our gratitude and esteem, said the mayor. And he gave Orville a new collar with a license that read K9 Hero. So now Violet is a hero in her community. She used her aircraft to save the stranded Boy Scouts, and now everyone in her town appreciates what makes her special. Instead of making fun of her, they're proud of her. From that day on, Violet's parents let her fly wherever she wanted. But her mom still made her wear a sweater. So look, Violet is so popular now. So many people know her and like her that she is on the cover of a magazine. That was a great story, boys and girls. So I have a question for you. At the beginning of the story, we were looking at the cover, and I said, I wonder how Violet became a pilot. So now I want you to tell us, how did Violet become a pilot?